I hear Josh, and I look over and I see stuff just flying, like shelves getting thrown, and I have to literally physically lift one of them off of the other.
Are we starting already?
We start whenever. There isn't an official start.
I was waiting for the, welcome back to the Win the Night podcast. Today's episode.
We could do it that way if you want.
No, I don't care.
Just for you.
It's your show, man. It's your show.
No, I mean, at some point I say, David, welcome back, but I guess we could just do that now. David, after a year.
Hey, welcome back to the show.
So, after a year of not having you here, or over a year now, welcome back.
Like 13 months or so.
Something like that. But, so anyway, last time I had you on, and this is why we were talking about the EP, I have that's your other EP. But how does this work for musicians? When do you plan on doing like singles next, or like do you plan on having a whole album? How does the EP world work?
Well, I mean, like we call this an EP, but like technically it is an album because it's like 35 minutes. Which,
what's the difference?
I don't know. At some point, I don't know what the line is from extended play to full length, but that crossed that line. But we always thought of it as EP, so that's why we call it that. And then we made the second one, which I had a much bigger hand in because I wrote the first two songs by myself. So those were like my songs. And I helped out a little on this one too, but not as much as that one.
Since last year, we watched your show. We went to your show, and I was pretty surprised. Hopefully we still have... Do you still have the video I sent you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's on our page.
We'll put a link to that performance, but that was pretty good. I was very shocked at how cohesive you guys are. I mean, you guys have been a band now for how many years?
2016 is like when we started this current iteration.
So what, like 6 years?
Yeah, that's why we're cranking these things out, because we've just been writing for like 6 years, and now we can finally start hammering that stuff out. But I mean, honestly, after this third thing is going to be a bit, because then we're going to be out of backlog stuff, and now it's going to be now we actually got to write the new stuff.
How long have you guys held on to material for, since 2016?
Yeah, I mean, the first song we did is the last song in this guy, Alone and Away, and that began in like 2018 is when we started hashing that thing out. So yeah, since then, 5 solid years of backlogs of songs, and we have so many other ones like any band does that aren't just like that are just gonna fade away. I'm not gonna do anything with probably, but that's fine because only the best make them.
So how often are you writing songs? Like, is that just a random thing for you, or do you guys get together as a band and go, we're gonna write something today, you guys jam it out?
Well, usually it's just our guitarist Dale. He'll just send a song over because he writes pretty much everything. I mean, even on this next one, hasn't even been a year since he like sent that thing. So we have stuff that's very, very new. So yeah, one of the songs goes back again to like 2018 up until like a couple months ago. So
let's talk about goals. What's your goal for the band? Do you guys want to be touring? Is that something you want to do?
Shows is definitely the hardest part, because like we don't have a manager or whatever. Got to like do it yourself, and our stuff is kind of hard. It's not like Nick where he can just go anywhere, be like, "Hey, can I play here?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, sure."
Right.
You know, we're very heavy, or kind of heavy, no vocals, so it's a very niche community, but we really like it.
And so the answer is yes, you would like to tour?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be fun, but I don't know. I guess I just been so focused on trying to record stuff as opposed to playing live, because again, we have so much backlog of stuff. But
and how soon are you looking to like write like a your next full length album?
I mean, it's already being written. I mean, we already have not the third one is like already written and everything. So the fourth one after that, we already have like a couple songs, but he's got to write the rest, which who knows how long that's going to take because it's going to be a bit of a departure.
What does that mean?
It's going to be very different from the other three.
Well, how would you describe your genre, like your style?
It's post-rock, post-metal is the umbrella term for it, which basically translates to like rock, but it's not in any strict format. Like it's not verse, chorus, instrumental most of the time. It's rock, but there's no structure to it. It's just here's a riff, here's a part, and it just kind of flows like that.
What would you compare? What bands would you compare yourself to?
Like the biggest one would be Explosion in the Sky, the Lone Survivor guys.
Yep.
But they're very much like even the last song on the other EP is very much in that style. But we do just go a little heavier. There's also bands like Russian Circles and Pelican that we like to think ourselves as sounding like.
What about Between the Buried and Me?
Not really, because they're very.
But there's you guys have a couple of songs where you go from super heavy into a piano type melody ballad.
Yeah,
it
right? Goes heavy to clean. Actually, Between the Buried and Me is going to be more like the fourth thing that I mentioned. That's going to be very different because that thing is going to be probably very little clean in that one.
You're talking about your next not the
one we're working on right now, but the one after that.
So the one coming out, the next one already completely written.
Yeah.
The one after that is you guys are still writing, but you already know what the style's going to be.
Yes. Yeah. We have a few songs for that written already, and it's going to be hard. They're very difficult. Very difficult.
As far as like technically difficult?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's gonna push all of us to like our limits.
Timing wise, is it like what is it? What's the most difficult part about it?
It's just very fast and sporadic, and there's this track called "The Wasp Gnaw" that currently is just like the most insane thing I think I've ever been a part of. It's only like 4 minutes, but motherfucker is like 8-finger tapping that shit. A lot of blasting, and yeah, it's pretty brutal. Can't wait for that one to be a thing.
So ideally, you guys you would like to tour, right? How often?
I don't know, man. How often do bands tour?
Like I'm just asking. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on how popular you are, but like think about bands like I don't know. Trivium is the most common example that I can think of like the higher end of success, and because metal in general or rock isn't really as popular as it once was. I would argue that it's on the lower end of its popularity.
Yeah, especially our stuff. Like I said, it's very niche, and the three of us, neither one of us are very social people, so that's what makes it really hard. Just to like. I generally don't even know how you're supposed to do it. Like, there's so many bands we go see live that I think we could be good openers, but it's like, how do you even get there? I don't know, man. I think this is what managers are for.
That's true. And it does help. It does, I think, make it difficult for you guys if neither of you are very social, because the way that you make it into that is through connections. So are you okay with it not becoming like a big thing? Would you be okay with just writing music and just being like, we enjoy it and that's good enough?
Yeah, bro. I just want to play sometimes,
Because like the reason why I ask if you tour is because if you're touring, could you handle the rigors of we have to play however many hours at this show, and it's whatever you have to fly from place to place. This is on the more popular end when you start getting some traction, but I think you guys could, and that's why I'm saying that, because if you got out there, Europe in general, I think are way bigger metal fans than the U.S. And so if you became popular over there, imagine having to pack up all your stuff, fly out there, and then tour for however long you're going to tour, right?
That would be kind of awesome.
So then you'd be down for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So then that's one of the reasons why I asked, because like it might be is it different for you like to play shows than to, let's say, go to band meets or whatever it is where you have to talk to people? Is it different when you go and you're just going to play a show versus touring? And then how would you handle, like, would you be okay with meet and greets?
Honestly, dude, it's like, I have no idea because we have never even gotten close to anything like that. Which, meet and greets, yeah, hell yeah, dude. That'd be awesome.
Well, then you guys are going to have to try something.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I think maybe I might try to, like, pitch our stuff to, like, record labels or something. But even that, it's like, how do you do that? I don't know, man. How do bands used to, like, their first record, it was, like, already signed to a label? I don't even know how that happened back in the day.
I've heard plenty of stories, and a lot of the stories are that somebody knows somebody. It's like, yeah, I was playing at the show, and then this guy who's already signed, introduced me to their producer or their label, whatever. So I think when you guys play, are you guys talking to other bands?
I mean, yeah, we chat the 2 shows we've played already. But
I think
like where we played, like no one was like us,
Mm-hmm.
There was that Liga Eric's band. I don't know if you were there for that one.
Maybe. Well, it sounds familiar. Was it just like
the 2 guys on acoustics?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like no one, like the people we're playing with at those shows, it's just kind of like an open mic thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's like we got to get into like those bands I mentioned, Russian Circles, Balakan. Like anytime they show up, like I think we would be good openers for them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I don't know, we got to call their press label or something, man.
And I think the challenge then is one of you guys is going to have to, like,
someone's got to speak up.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to say something and just be the guy that has to be uncomfortable and be like, hey, can we open for you? Or
you know what's so annoying about that is there's this other band that the other 2 like that I don't really care for. They're called Outrun the Sunlight, and those 2 know them by name. Like they are there at every show, so the band even knows them because they see them all the time. And I keep telling them, hey, tell them about us and get us to open for them, but they never say it because they're like, oh, whatever excuse they want to give. It's like, come on, bro, that's our in. You just ask them, hey, here's our EP. Do you want us to play for you?
You guys you might have to bypass that guy. Somebody's going to have to, because you guys are good. I don't see. Here's the thing. I told this to Nick too. I think, yes, it's more Nick than you guys. I think you guys are aware that you're pretty good. Like, I think that you're aware that people like you guys. Because when we went to see you, you had the best reception of all the players that night. Like, people were clapping after all your guys' songs. Like, you had a audience that was like, wow, this is interesting. And I, as just a listener, like, I haven't heard any of this stuff until you played it live. I mean, I heard bits and pieces of it when you played it for us. Like, hey, this is the EP, and we listened to a few of them. But to hear it live, I mean, you guys have good timing, so you guys are able to stay in relative time of each other that at least that I couldn't pick up on. It's like, yeah, that's off. It was never a question for me there, so that was good. And then your guys' stage performance of, it's like, ooh, what's going to happen next? That was always the question I had when I was listening to you guys, is like, I didn't expect that to change like that. And that was the general consensus amongst the audience. I heard people chit-chatting about it. They're like, yeah, I wasn't expecting that to change like that. It wasn't anything that, nobody was reacting like that to anybody else. Everybody else was like, oh, if they like the song, they clap along, or they clap at the end or whatever. But it wasn't like, yeah, that was surprising. I didn't expect that. That was that reception for you guys. So I think you guys, I don't think there's an issue. You've been playing for, like, how many years now? Like,
yeah, my first show was 2010.
2010, we were freshmen.
Yeah, it was 14 years I've been playing.
In high school.
Granted, there was like a 5-year break where I didn't play live, but still.
But just that, to have that many years of at least some form of, you're listening to music, you're learning stuff. Like, maybe you're not actively playing all the time, but you've had all those years.
Yeah, bro, that was half my life ago.
Yeah.
I was straight up I was half of my age now when I first played live. That's crazy.
So you and Nick have been playing way too long to not start getting out there. Like, try it out. if people go, you know what, this isn't for me, then at least you could be like, well, whatever, we love it and we're gonna keep playing it anyway. And then so what? But then I believe that there's gonna be enough of an audience, especially in Europe. I think your best chance is in Europe. If any of the Swedish metal fans get a hold of your guys' stuff, I'm sure they'll love it. Any of the German metal crowd, they're huge about the more the nuance of the changing of the songs throughout, heavy, soft. They love that. I mean, in Europe, you have a much better shot, in my opinion. I think metal in the U.S. has been not dead, but very slow for a long time. If you look at most of the tours that metal bands do,
it's over there.
It's over there. But anyway, a year's passed. What have you been up to besides? I know you said you guys have been writing.
I moved again.
Yeah. How was that?
Because I think, didn't we film my episode at my mom's house, like in the basement?
The you and Haley one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we were living there at that time, and then we moved back to the other place, and then we sold that place and moved again to where we are now.
So yeah, so for anybody that didn't watch the last one, you had moved. You were in your parents' house to essentially watch it while she was in Poland.
Yeah,
and so you lived there for how long?
It was like 9-10 months or something like that.
It was a pretty long time, and you guys were sick of being there. So then but you already had a condo at that time, but you guys weren't living in it.
Yeah.
But you had issues with like neighbors or whatever.
Yeah. I was ready to. Can we swear?
You can swear.
I was ready to upstairs, bro.
What happened?
I was pounding on the ceiling because they were letting their fucking piece of shit pit bull run around at like 7:30 on Saturday. So I hit the ceiling, and then dude like pounds on the door, and I go out there and we start yelling at each other. I sent you the video.
Yeah,
you heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude was like just being a bitch, and I was like, okay, that's it. We're putting this place on the market. I'm not living here anymore. Funny enough, they did the same thing. They moved out right before we did. So.
Could you imagine if they would have moved out? Would you have stayed?
No. Because apparently the people who moved in after that, I didn't hear it, but Haley was there like getting our stuff out, and there were like kids.
Yeah.
And they were like running around. Like it was just, there was no way I was going to keep my sanity living there. So we got our place now, and we're on the top floor, and there's a mean old lady underneath us.
Yeah. Is it at least better?
My ceiling does not make noise, so yes, it's better.
What's up with the couple downstairs?
I mean, they're just old, and like you can hear a lot, like everything. It's not very well insulated. So unfortunately, we can't even practice at that place anymore. So we have to drive out to my mom's still for practice, but that's whatever. I mean, I at least get to go home every week now. Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about angry neighbors.
Yeah, it's better off that way. So I try to keep it quiet because I know how annoying it is, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than to deal with somebody that like you might almost get into a fight with because, I mean, that pretty much was the deal with your upstairs neighbor, right?
Yeah.
That sucks to have a neighbor that's so like unreasonable.
Oh, what the fuck, bro? What you pounding on the ceiling for? You come to the door if you got a problem.
Trash, dude.
I just remember getting that video and I was like, what'd you do? What'd you say?
I literally just pounded on the ceiling. I thought that was a universal language for, hey, cut that shit off up the stairs.
Yeah. But I mean, how old were they?
Oh, I think they were like the same age as us. Honestly, they were not. Yeah, probably around our age.
So, I mean, unfortunate, but hey, you're done with it. You're at a new place. Doesn't sound like it's as bad.
Yeah, it is a lot nicer. It's a lot nicer, but it was expensive.
It was more expensive, wasn't it?
Yes, but it is paid off, so we're done paying. We're done fucking shelling up money for a mortgage, which thank God.
What are the property taxes like over there?
I don't know. It hasn't happened yet. Haven't gotten them yet, but it's gonna be stupid. Property taxes are dumb because we live. There was that abandoned insane asylum. I mean, it's pretty popular. Like if you like abandoned places, like I like to watch videos of people exploring those. That's a pretty big one, and it's like right across the street from us. And they're tearing it down, and they're going to build something new. So I'm sure they're going to make us pay for it.
Property taxes are probably going to go up more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's one thing that really sucks. But it's only twice a year.
But are you planning on staying there? Or do you want to move anymore, or are you done?
For a while, I think we're staying there. Because again, we had to move like twice in a year.
Yeah,
that was a big pain in the ass. It's expensive to move. Yeah, like I said, we just paid it off. And
what did you spend on moving?
Oh Jesus, I don't know. But it was a lot. Not counting the money we got from selling the other place, I think between us two, we had to spend like $14,000.
Jeez.
So,
on moving?
I mean, mortgage and
sure,
costs and everything. Yeah. So, but at least I'm finally able to save up again. That's nice.
Hey, well, there's that. So, what is the plan for you besides getting that album out? Are you guys? Didn't you guys have a podcast too?
Oh, me and Nick, yeah, we're ending that. We still have to shoot the last episode. I still have to put together the other episode. I've just been lazy because I just don't care.
What are you done with it because you're bored of it, or are you done with it because there's no time? Like,
I mean, yeah, I have too much shit going on, like work, the band, my YouTube channel.
What's up with
the lady, friends?
Yeah,
it's just like it's too much stuff.
Yeah,
and we did 50 episodes of that thing. It's been like we started that thing when we were still in that apartment.
Yeah,
so it's been a while. And it's just kind of like, all right, I think we're done with this.
Well, I mean, are you guys also out of ideas too?
I mean, all we do is talk about whatever we're watching or listening to. So there's always ideas. But again, I would rather just shift my focus to my own thing, as I'm sure Nick does too.
Yeah, well, I mean, Nick has a pretty busy schedule too, so I'm sure he's not mad about it. I think he mentioned it at some point actually that was going to happen. But speaking of, when you came over, I was like, dude, I feel like I haven't talked to you like forever. I was going to ask you, like, you got the band, and I mean, being in a relationship has to take you away for like a lot of the days, right? Like, yeah. I'm sure you guys do you guys like have a routine of like, hey, we these are the days we go out somewhere?
Not necessarily, just whenever I have an off day, because it's Sundays and whatever other day I happen to be off.
What do you and Haley do for fun?
I don't know. We watch stuff. Sometimes we go out. We like to go to the Naperville River Walk, which we spent a lot of time, in the beginning. I like to go there every once in a while. I don't know. We both just like to lay around a lot because, she's always exhausted from being up so early, and I got to fucking work, 10-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So we're both just like, we don't want to do anything.
I mean, you can't really blame you. The thing is, like, aren't your schedules kind of opposite of each other too? She gets up super early, right? What time do you go to work?
Well, I mean, either open, so like I leave, so I get there at 7:30.
Okay.
Or sometimes if I close, I get there around 2.
Okay.
But yeah, like I either get off at 2 or you work all day. So it's like 7:30 to whenever we close, usually around like 6:30 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, almost 12 hours.
And then, so you're throughout the week, how many days on average would you say that you see her? Like, because I'm sure at some point, some of those days when you're closing, she's probably asleep when you get home, right?
I mean, close to it. She goes to bed at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, we live together, so I see her every day, obviously.
Well, of course, but like where you actually get to like talk to her.
Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty much every day. I mean, there's very rarely do I get home like close to 8 o'clock. You know, so.
What is close? What time is close for you?
Well, we close at 6, but you know, sometimes they let people in. I seriously see like cars written in at like 6:30. Like, are you serious, dude?
Talk about some of the what are the pros and cons of working at a tire shop?
Never have to skip leg day because that's all I have.
You don't skip squats?
Yeah, I squat. You know, if I'm on air check, which 90% of the time I am, I get a lot of tips.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if it's super cold out there and the line's like to the street all day, you're out there all day, man. You walking out of there with like $200 or $300 extra dollars, damn near just like doubling my hourly wages.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Out of all of your jobs, how do you rank this one?
I mean, I like working at the one I used to in Naperville more because it was a smaller shop and not as hectic. But yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, honestly, my favorite job has got to be, you know, obviously Walgreens.
I've told this story ad nauseum. I don't think I've told it on here though, so I'm going to. Yeah. There was a so basically, you got hired. I want to say like maybe a year after I did. Did you get hired before I left to boot camp, or was it after? No, it was before. Yeah. Because I remember coming home, and on my 10-day leave, I took a picture with you at Walgreens.
Yeah.
And so then, so then it was before, right? So just before, maybe like a couple months then before I left, right? And so you got to see. I didn't get to see the transition of new hires. There's a bunch of people, basically everybody, the old staff, all pretty much left at around the same time. We had photo, the head, like the senior at photo leave. We had 2 photo people leave. We had a shift lead leave. The store manager retired. I think she retired before you were hired.
I mean, says it with a J, right?
Yeah. I forgot her name too.
Was it Joyce?
Yes. Yeah, but I called her by her last name, which I won't say. But yes, that's her. That's her first name.
Yeah, no, she was there for a bit.
Yeah.
I was there, but.
So she retired, and so basically, I didn't get to see the new staff come in because obviously I went to boot camp, and so then you got to see the changeover. So I came back to everybody being new. Mm-hmm. And so I basically had to re-meet everyone. And some of those that were hired were like friends that knew each other from school, right? And the problem is they had a beef or something.
Yeah.
Like one of them stole like a lip gloss or something from the other one, or they accused. That was the accusation. And so then they were apparently having a problem. And the new manager, the store manager at the time, she knew that they were having an issue because I guess it was spilling over into work and they were talking about it or whatever. And then anyway, they get scheduled together and one of them is supposed to relieve the other one for lunch. And you and I were on that shift. And you were somewhere in the back in the stock room and I was in photo. And all I hear is one of the managers, she called me over in a panic while I was in photo, like doing, I don't know what, a canvas or something. And I hear Josh, and I look over and I see stuff just flying, like shelves getting thrown. And so I'm like, what has happened? So I have to run over there and I have to literally physically lift one of them off of the other to get them to stop fighting. And I'm not gonna lie, when I picked this girl up, she was bulky, like she was strong. Like I was like, oh my god, when I picked her up, I was like, she's dangerous for the other girl. So I had to pick her up and basically hold her while the manager took her into the office. And that's code. You put a code in. So I had to stand in front of the door to prevent the other girl from getting after the other one. And you're still in the back. Meanwhile, all this is happening. And you just come out. You just come out at the perfect time. You just come out after everything's just on the ground. Hair is just thrown everywhere. Customers are just like looking around like what's going on. And I'm at the door, like blocking the door. You just come up, you're like, what the hell happened? And I'm just like, can you just do the register, please? Because I have to like keep this girl from killing the other one. Yeah. And you're like, okay. But you just like threw your hands up like, what happened? What's going on? And it's
co się stało.
What does that mean in Polish?
What happened?
Oh. It was just funny timing. Probably one of the funniest stories in hindsight. On top of all the trouble we got into, as far as like, we really wouldn't get into trouble. They didn't like all of us being grouped together. And at one point, Nick was going to get involved. If Nick got involved, dude, we'd run that store. Like if Nick would have gotten involved, we just would have ran that store. At some point, every position would have been filled by one of us. Even cosmetics.
Yeah, Nick's in cosmetics.
Nick's in cosmetics. Like he's a people person. He'll be able to have conversations with anybody. Right. So it was fun while it lasted. I think Walgreens was where we kind of but we goofed off. It was a job where we could afford to goof off at.
Yeah, like it was fun.
Yeah, and it wasn't like the end of the world if something didn't get done. Which, by the way, this is one of my complaints. We used to do everything. Like we got all of our lists done, and we would talk, and they hated that. They hated that we like had fun while we did our job, and they're like, they must be doing something wrong. And so they split us up, and I think that was the downfall of the Walgreens days for all of us, where we were like, yeah, we're going to leave.
Yeah. One by one, we all left.
And for me, what motivated me to leave was that. And also because I wanted to get more money. That's not a job that you like make a ton of money at unless you're like a store manager. Because my brother's a store manager, and I mean, it's not until you get to the store manager positions where you start making decent money. Like every position up until then is, I mean, I could make more doing something else that's not nearly as much work.
Yeah. What was it, like $11 or something we were making?
At the time, yeah. That was before minimum wage got hiked up. I think at the time it was still $8.
Yeah, so it was whatever.
So it wasn't a job that you like you wouldn't live on your own with that job. I don't
know how people do it, man.
In fact, that's why I left, because when I did move out of my parents' house and was on my own was when I was still at Walgreens. I was like, I need to go somewhere else. I'm barely making ends meet. Yeah. So, and then on top of it, it wasn't fun anymore. So it made sense. Anyway, that was your favorite place to work at?
Yeah, I mean, when we all work there at least. Always, because I was there for 4 years, so a lot happened. But
a lot did happen, yeah. Then, what's your second favorite place?
Yeah, probably the last discount I had.
The one before this one?
Yeah. Like this was I like the people,
Yeah.
And I like the tips.
They tipped better over there?
I don't really, because I wasn't there for that long, so it's hard to say. But I don't know. It's good enough.
Yeah.
Over here, I'm walking to the bank every other week with my fat stack of singles. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I never would have thought a tire shop would be super good about tips, but I guess people.
I mean, we got the homie Nick. This old guy comes in every single day.
Yeah. Every day.
Every single day
For
he
what?
comes in for air. But he gives me $3 every single day.
Why does he come in for air every day?
He really wants his tires to be at 36 psi, which whatever. If you want to come in every day, I'll take your $3.
So he comes in. So he doesn't come in and get air every day, does he? He comes in for a check.
No, yeah, for air check.
Right.
Every morning.
But he doesn't. It's not like he needs the air every day.
He doesn't need it, but I don't know.
Like it's at 36 when he comes in, right? And then you're just like,
it's usually like at 34. Granted, I don't know how it keeps dropping a few numbers every day, but
he's got to have.
It's whatever. I don't care.
He's got to have a nail on the tire somewhere.
He gives me $3, so good guy.
Yeah. Okay.
We do have a couple regulars, and he's the only goddamn one who gives anything. Plenty of other dudes come in, like maybe not every day, but at least 2 times a week. I see him, and they don't give shit.
So how much what's the charge for an air check?
There is no charge.
That's free?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That makes sense. That's why he goes every day. I was like, I thought this guy was spending however much every day to go get his tires checked.
I mean, he essentially is, $18 a week.
Well, yeah, if he gives you $3
He spends. I mean, it's not me all the time out there, but whoever it is, like he'll give it to him.
Exactly $3. I wonder why.
It used to be 2, but he upgraded to 3.
He must be getting more in his pension.
He's the real one.
Let's talk about what you want to do for this year. What we talked about the band being one of the goals. You want to release the record, but what do you want to do?
Honestly, there's not much else. That's all I do. It's the band, my channel, and work. That's all I'm about.
Yeah. So you're not thinking of leaving Discount anytime soon, are you?
I don't think so. I don't know.
You think you're going to be there for a while?
Not really anything better, I guess.
I'm surprised that you stayed that long. I think other than Walgreens, I don't think there's another job you've been that long.
Yeah. The only other job I hit a year at was Meyer, with Vince, and man, what experience that was, man.
What was it? It wasn't like Walgreens?
It was pretty much the same thing, except I didn't have to ring anyone up. All I did was stock food, and whenever it was full, I just hid in the bathroom.
Which was a very common activity. I found out through Anthony, which is my roommate. I found out that you guys were stealing candy and food from the back all the time.
Oh yeah.
And I was such a stickler about not taking things and just buying everything but I found out you guys were taking wrappers and throwing them away and going to the dumpster. Do you remember the raccoon?
Yeah. You get the bang on the thing.
Yeah, there's a raccoon that used to live there at the dumpster, and so I found out that all this time, I was being careful about stuff. You guys would go in the back and start eating candy, take food, drinks.
It was bad. I was in the cooler and freezer eating ice cream, drinking stuff, and what I do is whatever I would drink, all the wrappers I would take from the freezer and cooler, I would just shove in the bottle and put it. There was the shelf there.
Yeah.
I would put it under the shelf. And then at closing, when I would go around and get the garbages in the office, I would grab the bottle and stick in the trash and then throw it in the dumpster. I get really good at it.
Well, apparently, because I never found out. I never knew you guys were grabbing anything until after Anthony I just happened to tell him, I would throw out whenever stuff would go bad. I would look at it, and we were talking about our shifts one day, and he was like, "Oh no, I just ate them." I was like, what? "You guys did not care."
Oh man, those are the days, man. You can just hide. Now I'm gone for 10 seconds. So "Oh, David, where you at? You got to change his tire."
You can't do that anymore, can you?
Can't do it. Can't spend 7 hours in the toilet anymore.
But it keeps you busy, doesn't it? At least if it's does your day go by fast?
I mean, if it's busy, I suppose, but other times, it just drags on and on.
What are your breaks like?
Well, if you work all day, you get an hour break. If not, you're fucked.
What?
8 to 2s, you don't get anything. You don't get anything unless you work 8 hours.
Right. Yeah.
Which
mandatory.
Trash.
Yeah, no.
Manual labor for 6 hours straight, and then we get yelled at for leaning, like taking a break while the fucking tire air is up. It takes like 20 seconds for the air up, and then if a manager walks by while you're waiting, they're like, "Oh, what? You could be doing something else. You could be setting your torque or whatever." It's like, bro, I'm just going to do manual labor for 6 hours straight. Like, yeah, God forbid I take 20 seconds to like eat a granola bar or something.
What is the hardest job you've ever worked?
Hardest, or is this other tire place called like TM Tire or something like that? I worked there for a day and never went back.
Why?
That shit was stupid because they worked on semi trucks too.
Oh,
and they didn't use the machines that we used. They had to like manually use this bar to like get that tire off, and like it was just 8 hours of hell, bro. Like I felt so much like shit after it. I just didn't go back.
it's probably a good way to throw out your back, right?
Yeah, that was bad.
And so then with these, with discount, you specifically work on sedans and SUVs, and I mean,
nothing stupid like semi trucks.
Right.
The worst is like the Pro Masters or like a moving truck to get the jack up, but that's not bad.
Right. And so then that was the hardest job you've ever worked.
And that it was, I guess, probably Dish.
That was for me the most difficult. Not as I mean, yes and no as a tech and manager. They were just different. God, there was this one lady that constantly was doing calls. At one point, they're like, stop making appointments for her. There's this one lady, I'm not going to say her name, but she kept requesting us to go out there at least once a month. We were going out there because she had like five hoppers, five like main receivers, and had them all filled with recordings of old movies. And after a while, if they stop upgrading, like, you know, when you disconnect the main cable that goes behind them that gives the signal also apparently does, well, not apparently, it's obvious. It does. That's where it gets its upgrades from, like the software updates. And apparently when it stops taking the new updates, like at some point the files get corrupted. So there was this issue where she has 4 of them stacked on top of each other, and only one is connected to the cable, right? Because that's her main one where she watches and records stuff. And all the other ones, she's like, well, whenever I want to watch the other ones, I go and I try to watch them, and then they don't work, and it doesn't play through them, and it's blank. And it's like at some point, these things have a limit of what it, like if the software is bad, that might be an issue. Like that could corrupt the files. And so then when you try to connect, like you try to switch over to them and you plug your SAT cable back in, like that can mess with the files. It can corrupt them because it's trying to upgrade itself. And if you disconnect it and connect it back and you just do that over and over again, you're going to mess them up. And the problem was that she was like, there's just no solution for it. And so I was like, you can try to get what was it that we worked on? Like a external hard drive. You do an external hard drive and then move all your files there, because I'm like, you're going to keep getting hoppers, like you're going to keep getting receivers to fill up. Like these things max out at what, like a terabyte? That to me was the hardest job, mostly because of we had to sell.
Yeah. I can't believe they sent me to Texas, man. The second time.
Oh, yeah.
They sent me to Texas for training, even though I knew everything. I literally turned into like a secondary teacher or coach.
Yeah.
Because I would be done first before everyone else. And like they would just tell me, yeah, can you go help the new guys? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's like I knew everything. It's just, oh my God.
No, well, I mean, it was fun too. When you started working there, I mean, obviously I was a manager at that point, but when you started working there, it sucked when I found out they caught you on the roof, because they're not supposed to be on the roof.
Yeah.
I did it all the time too. I've caught techs. I had caught one tech actually on my last day as a manager when I was like leaving there. I was going to say goodbye to everybody, And so I was driving to them, to all the techs, and basically going to say goodbye. And I went to visit one of them. I see this dude like dart across. He sees my truck pull up, and I see him dart across the roof. Like he just runs like straight across the roof. I was like, if I was somebody else, I could understand. But I pretended I didn't see him just because I was just there to say bye anyway. It's my last day, whatever. But I went over there. He's like, dude, I thought you were, one of my boss. He's like, I thought you were him. And I was like, nah, man, I just came to say goodbye. He's like, oh, cool, dude. I'll see you around, whatever. But, dude, I did it all the time too. You just can't be up there long. Like
I wasn't. He just happened to show up right.
We have it's called the QAS, the quality assurance technician, and he's not in our direct chain. Like he's not in our direct leadership. So he's like a separate department of Dish. So technically he works almost remotely.
Yeah.
Like he's at the office, he comes in and he says hi or whatever and we chat. But we don't have influence, and they do that for a reason. Like we don't have an influence to be like, hey, look the other way. So when I found out, I was like, damn, sucks, man. Because, I mean, you did pretty good with sales. You got the sound systems out.
Occasionally, but
you would drop sound systems. That was your go-to sales.
Yeah.
So that was probably the hardest thing for me. Like the job, if it was just doing the job, the installations and all.
Yeah,
that,
if it was just teching, it wouldn't be that bad.
it wouldn't be bad. It's the sales part where it's like, dude, there's so much pressure to sell. Like, oh, what did you sell today? When you would get back, right? Like, what did you sell today? And I'd have to do that as a manager too. I was like, hey, what'd you get today? And I tried not to be as I tried not to be that manager that was like, if you don't sell, you're garbage. Like if you that kind of makes you feel bad for not selling. I would just ask them how to go and what do you think you could have done better, or do you think anything? Do you think there was anything that you're like, yeah, I need to try that more often? We would just kind of try to brainstorm ideas at least. But it was rough, man. And especially as a manager, there's even more pressure on management. Like, why isn't this guy selling? It's like, I can't be there for every guy when they're doing every transaction and how they do it. I can visit once maybe a week, because depending on how big the size of the team was, at one point I had 15 technicians. I can't visit 15 technicians in 1 week, man. It's just impossible with all the stuff we have to do. And so they're like, well, what's going on with this guy? It's like, I could go visit him. I'll go visit him and see what's up. But you're not always going to see. Maybe these people, they offered their stuff, and then I get there and I missed it. Right? Then I'm going to be like, well, I didn't see you do it. Right? I can't sit there the whole appointment. But anyway, so that job was the hardest for me. And so you're planning on sticking it out for this one?
I mean, I guess for a bit. I mean, I'm not really looking. I'm sick of changing stuff. Just want it to be the same for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Sweet. We gotta get Nick. We gotta get the group, all three of us, back on. Nick has been here. He has frequented the podcast a couple more times than you, and so we should all sit down as a group again, and figure out what is we can do, because we got I got Nick involved with the annual stuff. The annual we're planning on doing annual Marine Corps birthday stuff. So he played for us. Yeah. And so we're trying to do, I would like to do at some point where we have live entertainment, where we have people playing. And it'd be cool if we could get a group of players.
Yo, get Callused Wing to open that bitch. Marines are metalheads, right?
Yeah, many of them. Many of them are.
Dude.
So the problem is, the reason why we couldn't do that. Even with Nick, it was very, very enclosed, the space. Like even with Nick there, it would have been very hard to get a band. And I think that's probably like the main issue is, can we get a venue big enough that we can fit a band in it? And I think that's, if we can do that, then I think it would make sense to have you guys play. Because like if we can fit a piano, a drum set, some mics, and obviously there's a stage somewhere, that would work.
I mean, we only have to use a piano. Like we have plenty of songs that don't even use it. So
yes, but those are the fun ones, the ones with the piano.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I mean, we're almost out of time. Any last things you want to hit on? Any last things you want to cover, talk about? What are you excited about this year? Where can we find your band? What's your...
CallusedWing.bandcamp.com. Come on, check it out. Buy some EPs. We have like 90 of each for sale still. Check out DK Media Music. I'm still trying to be active on there.
We'll have to throw up the web links on there. But appreciate you coming back on, man.